that.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
I want to talk about news, don't want the drama. From no pretentious media Madonna. I found me a great ganja mama. Cannabis and coffee with some marijuana.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Cannabis and Coffee with me. I'm winging it by myself today. Just kind of sit back and have a little bit of a sesh and see what's new. And if anybody wants to pop in, just send me a message and I'll send you the link and you can come and hang out with me for a bit. But pretty much it's been a pretty quiet week. I'm actually have a day off today. And this morning I went out and did protest, but it was good. It was so good. And the nice thing about it is because it's about marginalized people, when I show up, people start coming to me and asking me how I'm doing about with the cannabis and legalization, and conversations are had on the side of what they're protesting about cannabis and about what the psychedelic wave that's kind of going on and what my thoughts are. And to see city councilors and stuff out for these events and then kind of and the media, and they all kind of snicker and, oh, you're always up to no good or good trouble, I guess, as we call it. And then the conversation always goes back to, so what are you doing with the cannabis and how are things going with cannabis and what are my thoughts on legalization? And these are conversations that, like I said, as soon as people seem to see me, like even like at the store, they as they mention weed or they ask for papers, and then they're kind of like looking for a response. And I kind of have to laugh, but it's funny how it's not a stigmatization, but how it follows you wherever you go. Because in reality, I haven't protested about cannabis for quite a long time. It's been a few years now since I did a global marijuana march here. It's been 3 years now since we had the Kootenai Cannabis Cup, but people still come into the store and recognize me from that, and then the conversations happen, right? In fact, I've had people asking me like, where can I get bath bombs and where can I get certain things? And, we can direct them in directions. Which is, facilitating, helping people out, telling them, and not actually being the middle, but getting them to where they have to be so they can get what they possibly might need as a patient. Because in this day and age, let's face it, there are very few legal cannabis stores that are carrying dosing for what is needed for patients, right? And I'm not saying that they're bad. Like I said, I go to one regularly here in town because apparently our reservation doesn't have one anymore. You can go to Creston, there's one out there, but our res was shut down. So basically I don't have any other choice. It's unfortunate. Like I could drive to Creston, but it's an hour and a half one way. And I've got kids in school and the scenario, right? So I don't really have time to be driving to Creston to get cannabis from the res. But again, I'd like to. And right now I do have some cannabis growing, and I did bring them in, brought them into the kitchen. So they're now under the lights, and I've got, because I'm not home, but I've got somebody unplugging the light when it starts getting dark because they're in bloom, and there's nothing I can do to stop that, which is good. I mean, it's the right time. If they were outside growing outside, they would be the absolute perfect time. But again, we're starting to get frost. Like it's my day off, and after I'm done here, I'm going to have to go outside and chop down my tomatoes and start bringing in my plants, the ones that are house plants that have to come in, because it was cold last night. And I don't know if it's starting to get cold everywhere across the country, but it was cold last night. So I'm thankful I did bring my cannabis plants in, and they are under the lights in the kitchen, which is perfect for now. Like I said, I'm not sure how they're going to end up at the end because they're not totally blacked out. There's still street lights that shine in my kitchen window. And I don't really want to put anything over my kitchen windows. It's a little bit, and basement, I could drag them down there, but then again, I don't know what the water situation ever is down there. Like, and I just don't ever want to risk losing anything. So I'll take my thing, leave them where they are, and take my chances with them. And that's all I can do right at this point. Um, which is good. But like I said, I'm thankful that I brought them in, because if I hadn't, um, okay, apparently I didn't do something right on this. I thought I had everything done right. Sorry, Al. Uh, I don't know what I've done. Anyways, hopefully we're rolling. But anyways, I'm thankful that I did bring those cannabis plants in, because, like I said, they were underneath the the top. But it's getting colder here every night, and I'm afraid that frost is going to end up would have taken them. So, like I said, there's not going to be a whole lot. They're not like huge. I've got two, but again, I'm thankful to have them, because other than that, like, and in reality, it's, unless you're growing for yourself, it's not really worth it anymore. Things have changed so much with legalization, which is, good and bad. Like, there's ups and there's pros and cons for all of it, right? And that's, the unfortunate thing is that there is, the cons, right? And some of the cons are the laws. They're still attached to them. And a lot of times people too are, not really complaining, but talking about this mass crime wave that's been, allowed to be on the streets. But in reality, mandatory minimums were something that we fought against, because all they were doing was going after people for small possessions of drugs. And drug policies have changed, and they need to keep changing, but we need to go farther with drug policy and harm reduction changes to make some real change. So what they've done, though, is, again, the rapists will go to jail for the same amount of time for somebody that's growing 100 plants of cannabis. So again, the justice system really needs to be, but again, back to cannabis. Cannabis still has a 14-year jail sentence if you're caught selling to a minor, if you're caught giving to a minor, if you're caught growing over more than what the legal limits are. There could be a 14-year jail sentence attached to that. So again, like, here we are with this cusp of lawlessness and unlawlessness. Yet possession, of course, is gone now. Like, you don't possession is, as long as you're within the limits, you aren't going to get charged with possession, which is terrific. I'm saying that's great, because it's also freeing up the courts and saving tax dollars. It does cost money for anything that goes through the RCMP, goes through the court systems. It costs you, the taxpayer, money. So if we can take off that and eliminate some of that in the budgets, that's such a good thing, so that they can actually go after criminals. Like, people that smoke cannabis are not criminals. People that do drugs aren't really criminal. The act of, transporting and making and doing trafficking in drugs, okay, that's a crime. But being an addict, being somebody that's a substance user or an abuser even, is not a crime in Canada. And that's, I think, that we really have to understand. I think with cannabis, we're starting to see the turnaround where people don't look at cannabis users as drug users anymore, but the stigma still remains, whether we are or we're not. And again, that's something that I think is really not good for the court systems either, right? Because we have to distinguish what's small possession, large possession. They've done that in BC, where they've taken the criminality off of hard drugs. They've not so much decriminalized, but they've decriminalized, I guess, up to 2.5 grams of any substance. Now, I'm not sure that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's all kind of a research thing right now, where they're all just kind of sitting back and allowing it to happen, and have places like my guest from last week one, where they can go and get their drugs tested safely. We have anchors here in Cranbrook, but is it still a good thing? Safe supply is an amazing, thing to have happen, but is it contributing, or is it helping, and is it saving lives? And the bottom line, I think, is that it is saving lives. Is it giving anybody a better quality of life? Is that the life you want to live? That's, I guess, your choice. As a Canadian, you're allowed to make those choices. You're allowed to do whatever you want with your body, pretty much, as long as it doesn't harm somebody else. And you using drugs is only harming you, and that's your choice. Again, same with cannabis use. It can be used as a harm reduction. So the use and introduction of edibles in a higher dose can actually help withdrawal symptoms, so that somebody that might want to come off something harder can do it within a comfortable manner, rather than being in pain. because coming off hard substances of any kind, any pharmaceutical even, has to be weaned down, because if not, you can go into withdrawal, and withdrawal is painful. You get sick. It's like having the flu, I guess. Um, I've never really experienced it too harshly. I mean, it's been many years since I ever had any issues where I had to, but even I've heard from some people when they quit smoking cannabis, it's hard to sleep. It's something that your body gets used to. Your cannabinoid receptors are used to having that. So of course it's going to have some sort of reaction to your body, because you're taking something out of it that it's used to having, right? So I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's an addiction thing, but I'm also saying, like, even when I was taking prednisone, I had to get weaned off the prednisone. So that meant that I had to actually, like, wean myself off, like take myself down off each pill on a, daily basis kind of thing, rather than taking the full prescription. So it's the same. And like I said, cannabis can be very helpful with that. And that's, I think, why we have the substitution programs running in both ends of the country. And in between, we have other people that are doing it in between in other provinces too. That's very helpful. It's unfortunate that because of legalization, our donations, or the donations that are going out to these substitution programs, have been lacking. So that's something else, that if you're, growing a little bit of medicine right now for yourself, or if you've got a little extra off your floor plants in the summertime here, about harvest time, there are substitution programs that are looking for donations, both in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and in Vancouver. Actually, Neil Magnuson, there's now the Magnuson Foundation, so you can reach out to them too. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to take whatever donations that you could possibly give them. Because like I said, right now, if you can help yourself with using edibles or higher doses of cannabis, rather than, to help yourself get off alcohol, even tobacco, like anything like that, there are substitution programs, and there are places that you can go to get the, which is one of our sponsors, which you commercials running for Legacy 420. They do mail order. So I know it's, some people don't want to wait for the mail, blah, blah, blah. If you need and want good product, there are locations that you can reach out and get it. And I think that's something, like I said, along with harm reduction, you need, if that's what you need, or if you just need medicine because you don't feel like what the legal product that you're getting at the stores is enough, there are other options. It was fun having Cindy on last week too, because of the fact that then we can get a little more, knowledge as to what's going on at the West Coast. And the worst part about this whole time zone thing too is, and crappy internets and not having good internet connections, is some of the people that I'd like to have on, I can't, because they don't have access to Wi-Fi that's fast enough to run StreamYard, which hence is what happened this morning. The camera just would not work. So we just kind of backed off that, and here I am. And I was running a bit late because I did go out this morning to a protest, which was fun. And, again, you show up to these places and it goes right back to asking about cannabis. And there's so many things and so many changes that have happened over the last year. Even the last 5 years, I guess it's been more than a year, but even the last year or two, like, microcrafting has become a little better, right? They can now, in British Columbia anyways, because again, it's patchwork. In Quebec, you can't do anything, and in British Columbia, stores can actually purchase straight from the producers now. So a producer, they have reps. I've walked into the store, there's been a rep there with posters and swag and showing, what new products coming out. It's not necessarily samples of that product. They're still not allowed to do that, but you can still, like, have your rep from your, like, micro, or from your, licensed production site, go into the stores and rep your stuff. And more of that's happening in British Columbia. So the product, I would say, is it's getting better. And the fact that I can actually say that the local producer here in town, Dakar, is producing some pretty nice extracts. I've tried them both, tried a few of them actually, and they are pretty good. I must say. The first one was a lychee, and I love lychee in the flavor, but you can still get the taste of the cannabis, and it still works. Still gives you that whatever you need when you're taking, for you use cannabis for. And it was good. And I was, like I said, I had a hard time swallowing that, to be fair. That an actual, that's being produced here in Cranbrook, it's actually really good, and I can actually, give them a bit of a plug, because they're doing a good job. And I know that they run aeroponically, so they're not running in hydro, they're not running in dirt, they're running in arrows, which is totally different, right? So instead of the plant actually sitting in any water, any nutrient at all, at any time soil, it's being sprayed on a time cycle, right? So the roots just kind of hang loose and then they get sprayed, which is it's a good system, right? It makes it so that it's less ability for root rot. It makes it so it's the nutrients get straight to the root base rather than having to, work itself through the water system or a soil system. So it's a really good, efficient way of growing, and it's like cost efficient, a lot more cost efficient too, in hindsight. So I haven't ever had the opportunity to go in there. I guess if I bugged hard enough, I might be able to get in there and take a look, but I haven't. And it's not like I don't know some of the people that I do from working from my prior job, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know, I just go and walk in the front office and say, hey, can I get a tour? I really like your stuff. Can I get a sample? I don't know if that would work, but you never know, right? I've never tried. I don't know what's happened to me. Normally I would have. These are one downsize to these pen things. Oh, there we go. They get a bit plugged. But that's always been the case, right, with these cartridges. But again, another good, cartridge from, I believe this one is, I'm not sure. These are my go-to now. Just easier, less mess. It doesn't have anything on it. Doesn't tell me who it is. I can't remember. I know it's a watermelon one. I don't think this one is from Dakar. I think it's, I'm not even sure where this one was from. But yeah, but again, like when I can plug the local grower here in town, why wouldn't I, right? And that's the thing, I can, because they've got some decent stuff. So anybody got anything to say? Nobody's there. Nobody wants to say anything. I can't see anything. What's going on here? I'm not even sure what's going on here. Oh, there we go. We have anyways, so I did check out to see what was going on new in any cannabis news this week. I know that they had Karma Cup, I guess, awards last night. I haven't seen anything this morning, but again, I wasn't really home to look a lot, and because, like I said, we had issues with my friend's internet this morning, that the camera wouldn't load, and the other person that I had kind of half lined up for next week isn't available this week. So kind of left me floundering, but that's okay. We always wing it, right? So let's see if we can find something on Karma Cup, because I'm pretty sure that, not that I'm a big plugger of that event, I'm really not, but there's got to be something that keeps us all united. Oh, so we've got some winners. Looks like ice cream cake from Royal Cannabis. And these are, I think, to be honest, are all licensed producers, but I'm not sure that we're able to put their product in. But it looks pretty good. And so if you check out the Karma Cup page, which I'm not sure, I haven't been taught how to do that yet. All the winners are there. So, but it looks like they were all legal producers this year, and that's a good thing. It's bringing. We need to teach them about legacy, right? If we want to maintain our cannabis culture, we have to continue spreading the word about cannabis culture. We have to keep spreading the word that that we're still here, that we're still maintaining our culture, that we still communicate, and that we still share and educate and keep doing what we're doing. Because if we don't keep maintaining our culture, it will disappear. If we don't pass on our knowledge to the younger generations, that what we did and what we have done and what it took and what we need to finish doing, it will always stay stagnant. And I was reading something the other day about generations, and how generations haven't changed so much since our generation, Gen X. And then there are millennials and there's zennials and all these, and there's a big squabble over what year and whatever. But in hindsight, we have to go back to when cannabis was prohibited. right? And when cannabis was prohibited, that became a divide. It became a race war, it became a drug war, it became something that stigmatized people. It became something that divided people, along with a lot of political issues that are moral issues that really are nobody's business, to be fair. You know, when it comes to whether you smoke cannabis, whether you use drugs, whether you want an abortion, whether you want to be, you know, who you are, whatever, none of that stuff should be being decided on a political game. And cannabis became a political game and a drug war against race, and another political ping pong back and forth. And now that we've, you know, become, I thought, more informed and more educated, I'm seeing that there's lack of that too, because even though cannabis is legal in Canada, the stigma that goes along with it sometimes is, you know, I still get called a pothead, right? I still, yeah, there's still slanders and that kind of thing out there. And it's like, it's been legal for 5 years, dude, get over it. And all the things that, you know, pretty much that I've done in the mainstream, along with, you know, the road pages and going out and not being a one trick pony and only just riding on the cannabis train, doing other things within my community, along with the Shelter for the Ukraine Society. I don't know, there's other things that just got done, right? And I'm not tooting my horn. I'm just saying that you can't be just a one horse pony. You have to go out and be part of your community to show that you're not a stigmatized pothead one trick pony. And I've always said that to my kids too. If you're going to use anything substance wise, cannabis for sure, make sure that you have better grades, you do better, you show that cannabis is not a hindrance in your life, that, you know, the standard stigmatized spicoli isn't who you are. And I think that was a good message that I've always passed on to my kids, as well as that it was medicine as well. That, you know, my older son, who had cancer when he was 17, got a card for medical when he was battling cancer. And now that he's in remission, he still smokes cannabis and he still holds a medical card, I believe. But it wasn't like at 17, I said, here's a joint, let's smoke it. He had cancer. He asked me about edibles and oil because he had read about it. And then we went forward and got him set up so that he was at least legal to do so, and at least legal to purchase or make his own or do whatever he needed to do. Now, thankfully, like I said, he's well into his 20s now. He's going to be 27. Or, yeah, 27. My God. My kids, I'm old. Anyways, his cancer has been in remission, and that's a great thing. And I'm not saying it related to cannabis, but cannabis is a therapeutic, helped him with nausea and other things. He didn't eat it. It wasn't like he was, you know, doing the RSO that way per se. But again, I'm not saying that cannabis cures cancer. I'm saying it might be a helpful therapeutic to go along to make your quality of life better. Because I'm, again, not a medical professional. I have no medical training, and I can give you no medical advice. All I can do is tell you what my experiences are with using cannabis and whether it's helped me with my afflictions and other people's. That's it. So again, no medical advice. Please check with your doctor always, on because I do. I see my doctor on a regular basis, and I do have to take some pharmaceuticals. And if it wasn't for some of that, I wouldn't be sitting here right now talking to you. And that's, again, my personal business. Anyway, so again, cannabis, you know, the stores here are unable to do a lot of sponsorship because I've looked at doing another cannabis cup. If I wanted to do another cannabis cup, I would have absolutely no problem. I've got people that have already said, hey, when are you doing another one? You know, one of the bands was just into where I work, and he's like, we just rebranded. We're still the same band. Like, if you know, let us know, we'll come and do another gig. And I'm like, cool. So that would be really easy. Usually that's one of the harder things to do, is find a band and that's not over, you know, they don't suck, to be fair. And they don't suck. They're awesome. Back to the point that I have their CD. I do. So yeah, here's it yakking away. Yeah, I was pretty hyped up after that protest, to be fair. I wasn't expecting quite, what it was, to be honest. I've never done a counter protest against a trucker convoy, and that's pretty much what it was. But again, the people that come up and, hey, it's marijuana, like nobody calls me Tamara. It's kind of funny, but but they always, are always asking, so what's new, what's going on, are you doing anything? Even, even the guy from the townsman, like, what's going on, where you at, like, what's shaking with the cannabis, like, how do you feel about legalization? Like, always the same questions over and over, right? Which is good, which means that I guess you're still representing what you're still standing for, what you stand for. And I will always stand up for cannabis, and I will always stand up for the patient's rights. And again, I think that, the further we look into the Cannabis Act, they better start changing some stuff and do it quick. I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anything. I mean, there's been rumors of dosing changing and upping things and taking down some of the, harsh regulations, but I haven't seen that yet. And I know that there's been court cases at one, and there's court cases proceedings, and I haven't seen any fruits of those labors yet or heard anything. And I'm sure that if there was a major announcement of any kind, somebody would know in our community, I would hope. I mean, there's just yeah, I don't even, like, I haven't heard anything. So if anybody's heard anything, murmurings of changings of anything, pass them my way so we can do some, because like I said, I've Googled, I've looked at the Gazette, I have seen nothing. Like, what's new in cannabis? Nothing. Like, what's going on in the Canadian cannabis world? Nothing. Canada and cannabis. Like, maybe I should just go to the, .ca and see Canada.ca and see what the government says about cannabis. Let's see what their homepage says about medical cannabis. Wouldn't that be something? Jobs, business, benefit, health. Okay, let's go to health. We want to go to health. Then we want to go to mental, indigenous, safety, product, improving healthcare, vaccines. I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about cannabis. No, I didn't find out what I was looking for. Why is cannabis not here? Drug and health products. Oh, drugs and medication, licensed natural health products. Here we go. Drugs and medication, licensed authorizations. Natural health product regulation. Okay, let's have to look this up because it's not showing like an easy search like there was, to be fair. Oh, cannabis is defined subsection 2.1 of the Cannabis Act, except for derivatives, product made from derivatives, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so excluded from a natural health product substance. So it's not considered a health product. I wish I could bring this up. How do I do this? I think I would have to do this before. That's disheartening. Anything referred to in Section 2 of the Cannabis Act that contains more than 10 grams of THC in isolate or concentrated psychocannabinoid or synthetic duplicate of that is excluded from the natural health product substance. Okay. Okay. And this is on the Justice Law. This kicked me into Justice Law website. How is that? Why? Why? Because cannabis is still got laws attached to it. So here you are, you've got, bouncing back and forth, asking about the regulations, not looking for cannabis on the health page of Canada, Canada.ca, and then it kicks you to justice. Interesting. Well, I'm going to take a quick break and thank our sponsors for keeping us on And yeah, we'll be back in 3 minutes, I think it is. Yeah, 3 minutes. Right back. Thanking our sponsor.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
Are you looking to get your medical cannabis grow license? Limestone City Hydroponics can help patients through the process of obtaining their license to grow medical cannabis. What's that? You don't have a doctor? If you meet the medical criteria, Limestone City Hydroponics has a nurse practitioner who can assess and provide medical cannabis prescriptions. What are you waiting for? Contact Limestone City Hydroponics at limestonecityhydroponics.ca or call them at 613-548-0420.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Cannabis edibles are an effective way to manage pain and other ailments, especially when you deal with your trusted partner, Legacy 420, in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. You see, we lab test every product on site to ensure proper dosage every time, which is critical when consuming cannabis edibles. All Legacy 420 edibles are made by our classically trained baker and chocolatier, and we also have super tasty vegan options.
Our baker has been in the industry for 25 years. She's also a chocolatier. Everything from savory to sweet, your chocolate bars, brownies, butter tarts, you name it, we make it.
Talk to our knowledgeable Cannatex about our incredible variety available. Give your trusted partners a call. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
All right, we're back. Well, that was interesting, if nothing else. There's so much going on, but nothing going on. Yeah. So again, we have to go back to the fact that, you know, where we were with this justice and law with cannabis still lingering. So I'm assuming that it would probably still be on the CDSA, right? And I think that was what was going on in the States, is that they were actually trying to remove cannabis off their CDSA list, or remove it down to a section 4 misdemeanor or something. But that's what they were doing in the States, in one state. Because again, you know, every state in the States can do their own thing too, right? Schedule 1, it's still Schedule 1. Oh, this is in the States. Okay, what about in Canada? I think a lot of times we just take for granted that cannabis, because it's legal. Oh, 5 days ago. Let's see. Something has changed. 5 days ago. See, it's complicated now because I don't really have it like scheduled, but it's still Section 2 of the Section 16 prohibition, and then it goes into a long Cannabis Act So things change, but like I said, and it goes into a whole rigmarole of each province. Okay, well, this is great. Permission to possess, produce, sell, or import anything intentionally produce or sell, distribute illicit cannabis in the case of an organization to fine more than $100,000. So there's that now too. That's new. What's this 5-day thing? Let's see what this says. It was updated 5 days ago. Well, it's not. It's the same. It's from 2018. Section 2018, Section 16 SC. Yeah, it's basically the Cannabis Act. So nothing's really changed, I guess, and it doesn't look like I'm seeing anything that the rumor mill has been saying that they're changing the Cannabis Act. I thought, like I said, it looked like it had been updated. It said 5 days ago, but it still kicks it back to the 2018 legislation that was ruled out for when legalization happened in 2019. So that would be something interesting that I'd like to find out is actually are they going to change the dosing? Are they going to allow higher dosages? Are they going to, quit restricting edibles? And how many? I think somebody had mentioned that before you can only buy so many drinks, and I think they were limited that. But I guess that would then entail upping the 30 gram a day limit for cannabis too, for dry flower. And that 30 grams, I guess, would limit you on how many edibles you could buy too, I guess. So the whole thing would have to be upped on that point. Anyway, that's kind of crazy when you think about how much time that took to get where we are, and how much more time it's going to take to get us to where we actually want to be. And if that ever happens, like, are we ever going to get to the point where there's no limitation and nobody's getting rich off of it? That's for sure. Like, even the stores, I don't think any of the stores or any of the growers are getting, making billions of dollars. I don't think even the stocks have gone up. I mean, again, I don't follow that whole stock market BS stuff. I don't care. I've never invested in anything, so I've never gotten anything out of it. Nothing. Anyway, yeah, I've been babbling now for a half an hour, and I really don't know what too much more to say. Because there's really, like I said, again, without a guest, finding out what they're doing. I mean, there's lots of people doing stuff, a little bit of stuff across the country, but busy doing other things. And, a lot of it's kept pretty quiet these days. And I don't blame them, because again, like, there doesn't look like they've added a bunch of new laws up there, but I mean, $100,000 fines, 14 years in jail, that would be enough to keep me, not wanting to be out there too much if I was doing anything that was bad, or not bad, nothing. I don't think that's the wrong word. Nothing's bad, just their perception. Because I support everybody and everything they're doing, especially if they're helping patients, and that's the main thing. As long as people are getting access to what they need, as for medical, that's the main thing, right? We don't what access they get and how they get it. Mind your own business. I think that like, the best advice I ever heard was, drink your water and mind your business this week. If you're out there, I guess I wasn't minding my own business too, but I'm standing up for something I believe in. And I've stood up for cannabis. I stood up for patients' rights. I believe that, at the time we went out and protested in Ottawa, 10 weeks was far too long to be waiting for anybody to get their, licensing back. And then it was like months and months and months and months, people waiting for renewals for their cannabis license or prescription, because really the license, what are you licensed for? It's a prescription that they've had to. It's the same as a stupid disability tax credit. You get your doctor to fill it out, it costs you money. You get an accountant to file it, it costs you money. And then at the end of the day, you get no money. And it's just like, and they still have the ability to go or not, right? So, government bureaucracy, and it's BS. That's what it stands for, bureaucracy. Anyways, there's so much, you can complain about, but why bother? There's so many good things that are going to, happen. Like I said, harvesting right now. I am sure that some of you are getting some good yield off your 4 plants. I've heard that some people are growing 12 and 15-foot plants in their backyards, and that's great. It makes me so happy that people are actually taking the opportunity to grow them, whether they're going to, end up with much or nothing, or, you taking control of that for yourself is a big thing. Just like growing tomatoes that I have to go and chop down as soon as I'm done this show. Because it's like, I'm on the cusp. If I don't bring in my hanging, tomatoes and my hanging strawberries, they're going to die. If I don't bring in my hanging stuff, it's all going to die. And I've got a beautiful begonia that I didn't kill this year, which is amazing. Tamara didn't kill begonia because me and begonias don't usually get along. My grandmother's favorite, besides geraniums, which I hate. But yeah, so I've got to go and get my plants in, cut down my tomatoes, bring in my squash, figure out what I'm doing with the bunny. And yeah, just kind of get my yard cleaned up. I've got one day to do it because, I only work, I have one day off, which is fine. I like my job, so I'm still loving my job. Yep, I really am. But yeah, I think that's pretty much a wrap today. I'm probably, gonna go get some cannabis. Yeah, it's kind of bummed when I heard that 2 nugs had been shut down. I don't know the details. Again, none of my business. So, yeah, because there's some pretty good opportunities and good things out there. But I gotta get some weed today. I really don't want to because it costs me lots of money. I just wish my plants were done because that would be even better, right? If I could just go out and pluck a bud, let it dry. But again, that takes time. You got to wait for them to finish flowering, then you got to hang them, then you got to cure them, and then dry them, and cure them, and dry them, and it's not a fast process by any stretch. Ever. Even when we were growing lots of them, it was never that we always had a gap in between harvest and actually being able to smoke it and having enough to last us right up to the end. Because at the end of the day, we were broke, and sometimes we gave some away, right? Gifted some away, whatever, and we'd always short ourselves. To be fair, every fucking time. I would always short myself. I'd always run out of cannabis and be like, I have no weed because I gave too much away. It happened to me every time. But again, that's just the way shit goes, and I'm good with that. Like, it never ever was an issue. But now I don't have that opportunity, and at this point in time, I don't know if I got that. I don't have the time. Maybe once I'm a little older and I'm not working full time, then I can go back to doing what I was doing. But right now, I'm just too busy with it. And like I said, 2 plants is enough work. 4 plants would be too much, and 200 would be way too much. I don't have 5 hours a day to garden. I wish I did, but I don't. The plants don't pay me. And then at the end of the day, they used to, but they don't anymore. Like, let's face it, like when cannabis is down to being like worth next to nothing, like seriously, like there's just no market for it. So even with trying to help other people because they couldn't afford it, at the end of the day, I can't do that anymore either because I can't afford it. I wish I could, but I'm just not there anymore. Like, just not there anymore, unfortunately. And that's, again, the way life goes. But we all have to do what we have to do. And I'm never going to quit smoking cannabis. That's for sure. I'm never going to stop helping people if they need it. I'm never going to stop being part of this great community that we've got and keeping connections. And, I guess Cheryl might have some good news happening here in the next little bit. I'm not going to give away her story or tell, announce it, but they've been working on some stuff. I think she was on the show a while ago, and we discussed the microgreens and the cannabis microbes, and there was some research being done on dietary supplements, and that's what they were being classified as. So I'm going to try and get Cheryl back on here maybe next week and see what we can come up with as far as what's going on with her. Right? Exactly, Melissa. Thanks for watching. But again, yeah, I'll reach out to Cheryl and see if she's not too busy. I know she had said they had been sick for a bit, so that was probably another reason why I didn't get any response back, because they've been sick. But yeah, they've been doing some research on actually and using hemp seeds, not even just so much cannabis seeds. And then I guess, well, yeah, it all comes rolling back. Going back to the seeds, and then we go back to BC Bud Depot and my buddy Derek, who passed away suddenly here last week. And it just seems like, but again, we're all patients, right? At some point, why we lose people that we love along the way in this community is because all of us have medical issues, right? We're not using cannabis, most of us, for anything but medical, and if we aren't, that's your fucking business, right? Like, I don't care what you use cannabis for, that's your business. But along the way, you're meeting people that are sick. You're meeting people that have terminal illness. Some of them have longer time than others. But at the end of the day, like, we're all battling some sort of medical something. And it's sad but true, and we lose people along the way that we love. And Derek was a great guy. Like I said in my post on Facebook, that they came, BC Bud Depot came, they stepped up, they were my biggest sponsors, they sent cash, they sent swag, they showed up. They were overly generous the whole weekend. Then the next year they again sponsored again. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it that year. I believe it's because we had more fires. And a lot of people, and then we had like the legalization happen because it was 2019, and we couldn't do it in the public. We could the year before, and we had some hiccups along the way, and we had canceled, and then we decided, no, we were going to go ahead. It was a shit show, but it turned out. So, and then again, then COVID hit. So we haven't done anything, and with legalization, it's hard to get sponsors and people. I'm not sure where to go about. Kudos to Deb out in Nova Scotia that did Harvest Fest. That they always have a great time out there, and kudos to her. She does such a great job, and her whole team. Like, let's be fair. There's a team behind her. The whole Mum Society, they do a great job of Harvest Fest, and she's so not just Debbie, but the whole team. That's all together that does that. And same with Karma Cup. All kudos to the team that pulls that off, and same with Asia with her pot fights out in Vancouver a couple weeks ago with the team behind her. That looked like an amazingly funny, good time. And that made my heart happy to see that some of the old timers were out having a good time, like Nick and Jeff and Neil and some of and John and Asia and all. Like I said, everybody kind of together, united, having a good old time, bashing the crap out of whatever. And loving every minute of it. So that was fun to see too. Watch that. So and again, as long as we keep doing these little events and hanging out and trying to educate and keep people together and united, that's only way we're going to keep our community together. Unfortunately, it's getting smaller because people are passing away, which is just so sad. You're right, Melissa. Deb is amazing. I wish I had a magic broom so I could fly out to Nova Scotia. Ooh, and come back. That'd be so fun. And then, only have tea and then come back. There's got to be time travel. Eventually, we say we would never see anything like this. We're talking on phones and seeing each other. I'm saying it now. Eventually, you'll be able to walk through a tunnel and get to where you want to go in like 10 minutes. It'll happen. I don't know how they're going to do it, but it will. That's my prediction. We'll be able to teleport just like they do on Star Trek. Beam me up, Scotty. It's you just never know, right? So on that, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And ditto, always room here too. I got a couple couches in my room upstairs. It's a mess right now, but I always say to people, we'll figure it out. Always. Yeah, it's been. I hope everybody's, safe along that coast too, because I know there was a bit of a storm. Not as bad as everybody said it was going to be, so that's good. Too. And I know it's harvest time out there as well, and I hope the wind didn't batter everybody's crops. And I haven't, like I said, I went to a protest this morning. I haven't really had a chance to check on Facebook. I barely ran in. I was like running in, sending Al a message. Can we run another show? My guest, I don't have a gas, blah, blah, blah. And I just ended up firing up, and here I am. Harold disheveled coming in from a protest. But again, it was good because every time people see me, they want to talk about cannabis. And a lot of people are asking about microdosing for psilocybin and my thoughts on that. And they're not for me. I'm not for me. For anybody else, definitely research, educate yourself, reach out to somebody that knows. I know lots of people that use them for multitudes of reasons, and it's helpful, and I will facilitate getting you to the right direction that you need to go. But I can't take them. That's my personal experience. I don't like them. For me. But anybody else, you bet. You come on, I will educate, I will facilitate, but for me, no thanks. But I'm super hyper. Like, I'm a squirrel, even on medication. I'm not sure the medication they've got me on is actually helping without more of this. So I'm doing a lot more of this and a lot less of that. As usual, the squirrel's coming out. So on that note, I got about 10 minutes left of my blithering. And again, I'd like to shout out to Al for helping me out and keeping me on the air, and all our lovely sponsors that step up and help our network, keep us all going and help us pay the bills. And to my former guests, anybody who wants to come on, please reach out. I'm always open for patient stories, how cannabis helped you. It's, that's what we're here for, is to share patient stories. And I would love to have you on as a guest. You don't have to be an expert on anything. You can just come on and tell people why you use cannabis and why you feel that why it's good for you. And that's it. It's, like I said, kind of like a jab session where I'm sitting here talking to myself and my dogs. But it's entertaining. With nothing else, you can laugh at me. It's all good. Anyways, I guess maybe I'll just wrap up a few minutes early, and that way I'm not running over like I did last week. And at least I pulled another one off. I don't know how I do this. I feel like a zombie, quite frankly. Anyways, keep your eye on Nova Scotia. Well, thanks for coming on and joining me for this little bit of a jab session, Melissa. It was good to have you watching. I appreciate that. And you have an amazing day too. Thanks for coming in. And I will talk to everybody next week. And next week, I'm going to try and have my guests come back on. We'll see if her internet will work. Y'all have a great week. Take care. Oh, and I'll see you on Pace Radio tonight. Hopefully I look better than this. Bye.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
When you think of the number of unique products developed in the fields, kitchens, and labs at Legacy 420, it's hard to think that one stands out above the rest. But tell that to the thousands of people who have tried this amazing breakthrough product.
This is our Sacred Salve. This is actually our extra strength. It comes in 5 different strengths. It's all natural, all organic. It typically works within 10 to 15 minutes of putting it on. It's good for arthritis, it's good for inflammation, any kind of pain. We're very proud of it.
Sacred Salve, so easy to apply, along with soothing relief. To select a strength that's right for you, come in and talk to your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
Pace Radio Network. By patients, for patients, and for those who want to know.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com.
Let's share Pace everywhere. That way it can help create peace. People everywhere advocating cannabis education. Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.